Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, tell me, okay? Can you all hear me? Hey, Francis, can you hear me?
Yes,
Ah, there you are.
we are
Hello.
here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Good to see you.
Oh,
Good to
good
see
to see
you.
you too. Good to see you too. Oh, wow. Finally, we get to meet.
I know. I'm so excited. It's so good to see you.
Yes, it's good to see you too. I'm so glad. I was wondering if you could hear me at all.
Yes, got you right all the way. Everything clear. Everything clear.
Yes. So tell me, um, I hope we can see you. Can everybody see her properly? Let me know. All right.
I'm here.
so, so, do you know something funny? I wanted to tell you this. Did you know
Thank
that
you.
my name is also Francis?
No.
Yes.
Oh, does everyone spell it wrong as well?
Oh, no, actually, I spelled it correctly,
No,
but
but do people spell
but
your name wrong? Because I always get it spelt with an I.
with an I. Yes, they used to do that, and they used to call me Brother Francis. So I changed
Yes.
Francesca. And
Yes.
now I dropped it all together. So this is exciting to be here to talk about your books. I was looking you up, and you have written so many books, and so many books. But it looks as if the most popular so far, and
Mhm.
of course, new books take a while to get their audiences. But I really, really enjoyed reading about from pasta to Bigfoot.
My first baby. Yes.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about the title and how you came up with it?
Sure. So, From Pasta to Pigfoot, it was actually a book I started writing when we moved back to Ghana for a few years. So, I live in London now, and we went back to Ghana for about 5 years or so. And I just kept finding this really interesting contrast between, what you see in the UK and, I'm a Ghanaian, but still I'd lived in London for so long. And then you go back and the different classes of culture, and some of it is like, it's funny. And you just, there's a story here. And I
Uh-huh.
started wondering, so I mean, because for me, we had been kind of always knew we were Ghanaian. So wherever we lived, and we lived in different countries, we still spoke the language at home. But I was sitting there wondering, as we were living in Ghana, what would it be like for someone who came from London and didn't know what I know, right? And was just sort of thrown into this maelstrom. And they know that their culture is Ghanaian, but they themselves don't feel it. They don't know what that means. So that was kind of the genesis of the story of Faye Bonsu, who is the protagonist in From Pasta to Pigfoot. So it was really her story. And the title was just, well, one, there's a lot of food in the book. I need to look up, right? So there's food, but it was really the sort of metaphor. So she came from the West, the whole pasta thing. She's a pasta addict as well. And it was her journey really to get to the pigfoot. We love our pigfoot over in Africa. And,
Nani, nani.
you know, so it was
Yeah.
that metaphorical and physical because in the book she goes to Ghana and the
Uh-huh.
bulk of the book is set in Ghana and it's really following her as she goes through some of the traditions. So she goes to a traditional marriage, she goes to a funeral, et cetera, in the course of the story. But it's more about her personal journey as she starts to really understand these conflicting bicultural, parts of her and how to reconcile that and find who she is. Because she starts the book very underachieving, very lacking in self-confidence, not really knowing who she is. And in fact, the book kicks off with her and her boyfriend at the time, who is an awful human being, who
Yes.
makes her feel like no sense.
Described as odious.
Everyone hates Michael, poor guy. But he treats her like a culture project, right? And it's like, you're this black girl, you don't know who you are, you don't know where you come from, you don't know anything about yourself. So he sees it as his job to teach her. And she feels so lacking in self-confidence that she goes along with a lot of things until a breaking point hits. So.
All right. Well, this is all very exciting. So we're going to look forward to you reading from it right now. So can you read us a passage?
Yeah, sure. So Faye has been seeing Michael. When we start the book, she's been going out with Michael for about 2 years. Michael is a journalist, a culture and arts journalist. So his job means he has to go to plays, theaters, restaurants, etc., and then do his write-up for his newspaper. So to be perfectly honest, all his dates with Faye have been him doing his job, and he takes her along. And so she's meekly followed him on all of these things. And today, this date, it's actually going to be the first time she meets Michael's friends. And so she's gone off to pick him up in her car, and she's feeling a little bit nervous about this. So I'll start from just this bit here.
Okay.
Tonight's date was different, however. Instead of another work-related event, this was the first time Michael had invited her to meet his friends. Despite looking forward to this evening all week, she was now feeling the heavy weight of his expectations on her slim shoulders. Now almost shivering with nerves despite the warm interior of the car, she cleared her throat and tried to sound calm and confident. This was not the time to provoke another lecture from him about the lack of self-confidence that had probably been engendered by her separation from the proud peoples of Africa. Michael, just remind me again, whose house are we going to? Faye, I've told you 3 times already, you really should pay more attention. He tutted impatiently and reached for the sun visor, flipping it back into place before going for the door handle. Luther and Philomena. He said their names slowly and clearly, as if dealing with a demanding toddler. Wait! She seized his arm and fought back the rising feeling of panic. Okay, tell me again, how do you know them? Please, Michael, I don't want to go and look like a complete idiot when we get inside. He heaved a loud sigh of exaggerated patience, but turned to face her fully for the first time since getting into the car. Okay, so I lived with a group of artists for a while after I decided to leave uni, right? Well, Luther was one of them. When we shared a house, he was going out with Philomena. They stayed on there and got married after the rest of us moved out. He stopped speaking and peered at her through the near darkness. Faye, what's that white stuff on your sweater? His voice rose in annoyance as he brushed his hand over the front of her black top. You need to make a bit more effort with your appearance, he said, now clearly irritated. Brushing an imaginary speck of dust off his own immaculate chocolate brown jacket, he ran a gentle hand over his neatly coiffed hair before glancing over at her. So, can we go now? He said. It's getting dark in here and we're late. Without waiting for a response, he pulled his arm away and opened the car door, sliding his legs out of the small space. Faye took a deep breath and climbed out of the safety of her beloved car. She locked it quickly and ran after her boyfriend as he strode ahead towards one of the shadowed front doors, and then stood awkwardly behind him as he rang the doorbell. When the front door opened, her first impression was of a large, dark silhouette in the doorway, with its head nodding in time to the thumping rhythms of what was now very loud reggae. Michael! The silhouette screeched, its voice rising in joyful volume with each long drawn-out syllable. Luther, come quick now, it's Michael and his lady friend. Faye watched in astonishment as the normally reticent Michael threw his head back and laughed happily, a deep belly laugh almost as loud as the music. Throwing his arms around the silhouette, he rocked them both from side to side with a loud whoop that made Faye jump nervously. Philo girl, long time, he exclaimed when he finally released the woman. He dragged her inside into a narrow hallway and turned back to Faye, who was still standing on the doorstep, smiling politely and waiting to be asked in.
Oh, wow. Very, very good reading. So vivid. I felt as though I was right there. Oh, my God. Now, I have to ask you this because this is going to be a festival question.
Yes, ma'am.
When I listened to the two of them and their relationship, it's very obvious well, that say is not enjoying the bedroom very much. Now, Bernadine, our darling Bernadine Evaristo,
Yeah.
recently told a magazine that she has sex 8 times a day when she's not horny. So I've got to ask you because
When does she get time to write?
I beg your pardon?
When does she get time to write?
I don't know. And that's actually what I'm going to ask you now. How many times do you do it a day?
Are you talking past, present, or future?
Whatever you would like to say. Maybe you can talk
I'm,
about the
I'm
past,
in COVID
the
lockdown.
present.
I'm in COVID lockdown, so it doesn't even reach us.
Okay, before COVID.
Can't help you on that one.
Before COVID, what did you do?
Oh, I've been happily divorced for a few years, so I'm good.
You need to be married to have sex?
I said, I'm happily divorced, so I'm good.
All right, all right.
I am good.
All right. But I also have to ask you this because I know you are an executive. Do you want to tell us just a teeny bit about your job and how you juggle writing and working full time?
Yeah, wow. Yes, I do have to work. I set up my own business almost 20 years ago. And it was actually when we came back from Ghana. So the period that I was talking about when I first started putting the first draft of From Pasta to Pigfoot together. And when we got back, I was really keen to maintain my connection with the continent. And I found that just coming back and getting into a regular job here wasn't doing anything for me, right? And so I guess what a lot of women do when they can't see what they want coming to them is they create it. And so I decided to create the business I wanted. And it was for me, how do I build on what I was doing in Ghana, which was a lot of work around skills development, coaching, really looking at how we can fulfill some of the potential of our young people particularly, and really help our businesses grow. So that was what I set up here. It was a company called Interims for Development. And I started recruiting a lot of people to go on short-term projects within the African continent. So some of it was around working within companies and helping with training. Some of it was around, developing roadmaps for organizations and skills development. And then some of it was really around in the diaspora. We had so many of our people here who were trying to find ways to give back and they didn't know how. And so I got involved in a number of projects, really looking at how we can connect Africans abroad with development at home. And that's really where that business has gone over the years.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. And you still manage to find time to write, because I checked your website and it looks like you have about, 7 books or something that you have written? Not all novels, of course.
Yeah, but in a way it kind of fed into that, because the first 2 books I wrote were nonfiction. So the first one I wrote is called Everyday Heroes. And I really wanted to use that again for our young people here. My daughter came home from school and she's like, oh, we have a project for Black History Month. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing? And she said, oh, Martin Luther King, blah, blah. And I was like, come on. I mean, still really, there are so many professionals and so many artistic and so many creative Black people around today that you guys can learn lessons from. Why are we still going back to 1950s heroes? So she's like, Mom, you're going to help me with the project or you're going to give me a lecture? So in the end, I said, okay, let me put my money where my mouth is. And actually, I had started an online platform called reconnectafrica.com, which was, again, a one-stop place where I wanted to throw all the information people kept asking me about careers and this and that and the other. And in the course of that, I was interviewing people the whole time. So I thought, right, some of those interviews could actually make a really useful resource for these young kids, where we're interviewing and talking to Black people who are sharing their experiences and actually resonating that truth for our own young people. So the first book, Everyday Heroes, is interviews with 16 professionals, 8 women, 8 men, and they all do different things. You've got sculptor, you've got an artist, you've got a marketing person, you've got a banker, you've got a doctor, you've got an inventor. So I just tried to find 16 different things, different ways in which people express themselves in terms of careers. And I interviewed them. And so the book is these short interviews. And so that fitted in with what my work anyway. And then the second book.
Oh, wow.
And everyone was saying, Ghana, Ghana, Ghana. You come back from Ghana. How did you go? I'd love to go. I'd love to go. I'd love to go. How do I get a job there? So I said, okay, after answering the same question 25 times, I said, let me write a book. So I wrote a book called I Want to Work in Africa. And again, it's just a really practical guide for anyone who wants to work in Africa. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I'm going to come back to from pasta to pig foot.
Yay.
Because yesterday we had a Loreto talking about her experiences in Ghana, and some of them were so sizzling. And I'm so glad that finally, obviously that relationship between Michael and Faye is not going to work. So we can imagine what happens when she comes to Ghana. But she finds some really nice hunk called Rocky. I mean, with a name like that, Rocky. So tell me, first of all, describe Rocky for us.
Do you know, one of the big reasons I didn't want to let this book be published was because other people were going to get Rocky. And everybody was like, he's mine, he's mine. Rocky is hardcore hunk. He's so cute. And he's one of these brooding, guys with some kind of history. And there's one minute he's this charming, urbane, suave guy. The next minute he's just silent and brooding. And, so on one hand, Faye's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. On the other hand, the girl just can't deal with this guy. He's just, but
it looks like she probably gets it on 8 times a day.
Faye is a baby. Faye is just this sweet girl who just needs to grow up. It's so funny. I think my publisher said to me when she first read the story, she said, I want to get hold of Faye and shake her.
Yeah,
And I'm,
really.
you know what?
I think you said sweet and whatnot, and I thought, this was her opportunity to really misbehave, find some hot waiter, I don't know.
But you know what Faye did? Yeah, but you know what Faye discovered? And this is I know, ask the girls that live in this city. When you've been in this London place and, the guys are all, and you've got to be sharing your guys, right? Because half of them are looking at the other women anyway. And you go to Ghana or wherever it is you're going to on the continent, and then suddenly the boys rush, right? And suddenly this fresh meat has arrived. And she is just stunned by how she is suddenly the center of attention and how the guys are like giving her eyes. And she's not used to this. I mean, she could barely see a black guy where she lived in London, never mind having all of these guys coming for her. So, that alone was a big boost, and I think we forget, those of us who are living over here, I think it's easy for everybody to forget that, the pickings go slim, right? Pickings are very slim. So my girl was very happy when she got to Ghana. Yes.
Oh, yes. Well, let me see if I can get some questions, because I've seen a lot of questions. I think, and I don't want to forget anybody's questions. So let me scroll back up and see if I can find questions I may have missed. Because I was so enjoying what you were saying. I remember, Chike, hi everybody. So we have members of the Afrolit family here. And, so our Afrolit people, I get everybody's question, and also some from the general audience. Okay, let me see. Scrolling. They are all saying nice things about you.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see. There is an author about somebody said this. I don't know who it is. Now, let me see. Oh, what happened to the questions? They seem to be disappearing. Okay, guys. Okay, now, Chike, Lives of Great Men, you had a question, and I'm looking for it. I see the question. What does it say? Okay. Well, this is fun anyway. I get to keep scrolling over your face. Question. Happily divorced? Are you single or mingle? Yeah. That was one question. So,
Happily divorced and
single or
single.
happily mingled?
Happily single and happily mingle. I don't even know. I'm
Okay.
tripping over my own tongue now. I'm
All
here.
right. Well, you know what they say, right? You use it or lose it. So I hope you're really making good use of it.
Well,
And it doesn't always.
well,
Somebody said this to me recently. Most of sex is in the brain, so it doesn't always have to involve another human being. There are very lovely
really?
solo performances involving rubber rubber apparatus.
I like creating the ideal man on paper.
There you go. There you go. Let's keep creating. Okay.
Yeah.
So Zukiswa wants to know where we can get this book from pasta to Pigfoot.
Okay, so Ghana and distribution. Yeah, it is a problem. However, from pasta to Pigfoot, when I was in Ghana, it was on sale there, so I'm hoping it's still the case. The bookshops, it was at Vidya. I think Wild Jacko had some. The airport shop had some. So, and I think bookstore Nook, if I got the
Book
name.
Nook, yeah,
Book
Book Nook.
Nook store. I'm
He's
hoping,
the best.
yeah,
He probably has some.
I'm hoping we're gonna get some distribution going through there as well. I mean, look, this is the big problem, honestly. If we could find a way to get these books distributed so much more effectively and quickly and efficiently, we would all be happier. Trust me, it's a big frustration, the number one frustration.
Yeah, and that's something we keep discussing all the time. And I think that
Yeah,
answers Chike's question. Chike's question was, do you have distribution in Ghana? So we
yeah.
would get it. I actually recently saw Book Nook advertising from Pigfoot, no, Pasta to Pigfoot. So
Yeah,
that
cool.
is available. And we'll make sure, and you have a sequel to that, which we
Yeah,
haven't even touched. You have a
yeah,
sequel to that, right? And what
yeah.
is the title? Can you give it to us?
Yeah, it's From Pasta to Pigfoot, Second Helpings.
Yes. Second helping.
Second helping
Second helpings of what? Of Rocky?
of Pasta to Bigfoots. Second.
Yeah, but of Rocky. I mean, Rocky is a meal on it. He's a
Uh,
total meal.
yeah. You know, that book came about because I wanted to explore this idea where you think I've sorted things out. I've got my life sorted. I know who I am. I know what everything is. Because for me, I think life just waits for you to get to that feeling of complacency and then it slaps you one, right? So it was like, so Miss Faye, when we finished with her at the end of book one, she seems to have got it together, seems sorted. But nah, we had to give her a way to figure out that when you think you sorted it out, you've got to find another way to sort it out because life is not going to just end happily ever after unless it gives you a bit more trouble. So second helpings was really the next phase of Faye's concerns, which was like everybody around her was settling down and having kids. And she had this hot boyfriend and this great job, and yet nothing was really happening. So she comes to Ghana again in book two. So most of the first book is set in Ghana. Second Helpings is mostly set in the UK, but then there's a portion set in Ghana to see if she can improve her life. So.
Yeah, well, actually ties in with a question that somebody has. I think it's Judy Stewart. How do you get a job doing meaningful work in Africa?
Oh, wow. That's a whole coaching session.
Yes.
Buy my book. I want to work
Well,
in.
yes.
You know, like with anywhere, you've got to start with really being clear. What are you bringing to the table, right? I mean, a job is a job is a job. A job is an organization saying we've got a problem. So your goal is to start with yourself. What do I do? What are my skills and how do I solve problems? When you're clear about that, you can then start looking at which organizations have those problems. And then you start to do the magic mix to put the two things together, you and that organization. But often what I find is people are sort of not that clear on what they want to do or what they can do. And that's really the biggest issue. You can't market yourself unless you know what you're marketing. So that would be my first bit of
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, James Mura wants to know, what are your writing influences? Who are you reading now? So there are two questions in one.
Yeah, James, hi. Writing influences, honestly, I once said this in an interview and I kind of regretted it, but I think at the same time it makes sense. I would describe myself as a literary whore because I didn't read any one thing. You know, growing up as a kid, I was in London and we had this small library nearby, and that's where I got my books. So it wasn't about choosing what I was reading, it was about reading what was there. So I would go there every Saturday and just work my way from one end to the other. So from historical romances to detective fiction to crime to romance to whatever. I mean, I just read the whole damn thing. So my influences, I think, are just a mix of so many different types of writing. One minute I'd be reading, you know, Mills and Boone. The next minute I'm reading Angela Davis and Soledad Brother and, you know, Black liberation biographies, reading, you know, Long Road to Freedom. The next minute I'm reading something, you know, so it's been very much, I mean, I loved authors like Terry McMillan, who were able to really tell the stories of ordinary people, particularly women. It was all women focused, who celebrated sisterhood, but sort of just showed women in their ordinary lives dealing with day-to-day challenges and how they grow as people, as women, as they deal with these challenges. So I love people like Terry McMillan. More recently, Dorothy Crimson, who for me was like a really important find because I was struggling to find Black commercial writers in the UK. And for me, she was the one that said, it's happening, it's doable, you know, because my books are not what I would term deep literary books. They are popular fiction. And so I, you know, they're very commercial. And I write very much about sort of cosmopolitan middle class Africa as opposed to getting into some of the other parts of us. You know, we have so many things in our continent. So that focus that I put is one where I think I see less of. And so I was trying to really figure out where is the home for what the kind of stuff that I write. So those kinds of writers, Dorothy Crimson, you know, Terry McMillan, just showed me you can talk about Black women as the stars of the book, and it can still be commercial, and it can still be contemporary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I actually recently discovered Dorothy Crimson myself. I just
yeah,
read Ice Cream Girls.
yeah.
Very impressed. Yeah. So
And
that's really good. We need popular fiction, and I'm glad that you're writing them, and I hope you keep writing more salacious books. So now, Rennie, our wonderfully shortlister,
Prosecco all the
the
time.
prize shortlist. I had to throw that in there because he's very special to me. So, not to take from you, but he has an important question also. If we solve distribution, will that solve the magnetism of the Western gaze?
Oh, interesting. Um, I can only answer for me. I don't think it's about the magnetism of the Western gaze for me. I think if anything, it's about me reflecting back to other women like me, stories about women like me that I don't find. So I'm not, you know, I have people in the West who have been really happy and favorable and made lovely comments about the books. But the ones that say, I really saw myself in it, oh my God, Faye's story was my story. I really get what it's like when I go back to Nigeria or Ghana or Nairobi or wherever, and people sort of treat you like you're a foreigner, but at the same time, you're part of the country. You know, those were the people that the book, I think, really resonated to the soul of. So it wasn't for me about satisfying other people. I predominantly really don't even write with other people in mind. I just have a story to tell and I tell that story and it'll find its readership with whoever likes it. You know, I mean, everyone likes different things. But what I found really gratifying is that it's filled a gap from what I've been told for people who want stories where we're not doing anything, we're not being sad necessarily, we're not being tortured, we're not being, you know, we're dealing with the stuff that we kind of deal with, you know, our bosses, our boyfriends, our marriages, our mothers-in-law, you know, our day-to-day. And that's what a lot of people say to me. I don't see me in the center of stories like that often where I can really relate to this woman struggling with her boss to get her promotion, or this woman dealing with her mother-in-law because she can't get pregnant, you know, and all of these things. So that's, for me, I think, the more important outcome.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And it looks as if more and more we Africans, we're taking ownership of our own wealth, because if we wait for the Western people to write about us, they
Never
box
gonna.
us in slavery and whatnot, and starvation and what have you, female circumcision. I mean, all those topics are important where they need to be written. But what you're doing, you're part of a rising group of people who are writing about Africans the way we are. We are just humans with all the problems, the challenges, the joys, the loves, the anger, and everything else that other people have. So, Remy has another question. How do you?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I was just really going to say this. For me, the Western gaze is when we get exorcised, is when we get treated as other, is when, you know, we're not contextualized into a daily, normal, everyday routine. Book was something. It's really nice to read about Africans in their day-to-day, everyday life, you know, without having to be seen as this other thing that has these special qualities and characteristics that we must, you know, shine a light on in some way. I mean, my books don't shy away from the negativity and some of the issues of our culture that are not good for us. And I make reference to everything from poverty to whatever, but that's not the focus of the books. It's about the relationships, the growth, the development, and it's showing the fun. I mean, come on, when Africans meet, we're always laughing, and yet our books don't always reflect that. And I think it's getting that joy out of it as well sometimes.
And you've seen our festivals. Our festivals are actually far more interesting than these really staged, rigid. You know, I was going to bring a glass of wine here, but I felt badly for you because you have to go to work, and you told me you couldn't drink. So, well, when I finish with you, I'll go have myself a nice glass of wine.
Oh, have one for
So,
me. I have to wait for hours.
I
It's only
will. I'll have
midday
one
here.
for you. I'll have one for my Afrolit family and everybody else. So, Remy has another question. How do you
Yeah.
avoid complacency in your writing? And how do you stay sharp?
Fear. Absolute abject fear of someone saying, what kind of rubbish is this? Right?
Ah, yeah. I can definitely relate to that.
Listen, do you know that the difference for me between writing nonfiction and fiction is that when I write nonfiction, I'm writing pretty much facts, right? So I don't think anyone's going to argue with me unnecessarily. When it comes to fiction, you are afraid the whole time because you're putting your thoughts down, your emotions, and you're putting that out for people to judge. And so, unless you've got a really thick skin, which I don't, you really want to try and make sure you're putting out the best. So if anything, I take too long because I keep wanting to edit and re-edit and re-edit, and I'm never happy. So I don't think complacency is something I'm worrying about yet. Maybe after my 14th, 15th novel, I'll be chill, you know, but as of now, nah.
Yeah, well, I fear I think fear is just, it's a healthy thing to have. We cannot become like, you know, Ken Follett and the others who have written 40 books and have an audience that will just pick up their book.
Yeah.
I think it's so
Yeah.
wonderful the way you are keeping sharp. Yeah. So Maimuna Jallo has a question for you.
Hey, Maimuna.
Are you still doing your work around connecting Africans in the diaspora to jobs at home? Can you update us on that area of your work? And she may have come a little later, but you can tell us a little more if you're still doing it, right?
Yes, ma'am, Jallo. I'm not actively going out seeking it, but I use the Reconnect Africa platform, reconnectafrica.com. So we put jobs on there that we get told about. We have a host of stories, articles, careers guidance. It's a free resource. Anyone can go on there. There's a ton of stuff. It's been going for 17 years. So there is so much material on there that's free for everyone to access. And if anyone's looking to hire and recruit into a different African country or business, let me know. On Reconnect Africa, we have a jobs board as well.
All right. So Chike
Cool.
has a very important question. Prosecco
Cool.
or rosé?
Prosecco, Prosecco, Prosecco.
All right.
Never doubt. Prosecco, all the way, all the way. There's a bottle in my fridge waiting for me. Prosecco.
All right.
No question.
No, Remy, you're a little too late for the Evaristo inquiry. I asked and I prodded and I tried. I didn't get anywhere with it. And I'm still trying, but she's not telling. So she keeps going on about being single and mingling. So we have to try to infer that she is probably getting at least 4 rounds a day. So let's see if there's another question. Let's see. Let's see. A question. Do you have a... Now, I'm not wearing my glasses. I have to apologize for that. But hey, I can even look a little sexy. But here's a question from Zukisua. Do you have CBE? Yeah. What does that mean to you?
Oh, yes, I do. I was awarded the CBE in January in the New Year, the Queen's New Year's Honours List. What does it mean to me? It means to me a couple of things. One, recognition for the work that I've led over the last 2 decades or so, which has been the work around, and the CBE was for services to Africans in the UK and in Africa. That was the reason for it. So for me, it's recognition of the projects, it's recognition of the team of professionals that have worked with me for 2 decades to go out to different countries to support businesses. We've done business training for small businesses, to support leadership programs, to support skills development programs. And I've seen the people I started working with, you know, almost 20 years ago now in really strong positions of leadership in different organizations, from charities to corporations. And it was recognition of the work of that team that helped me fulfill this vision to give back to my continent and to also connect the diasporan Africans who want to be part of that solution to Africa's growth and development, to opportunities to do that. So it was also for me a good opportunity for other people, other Black people, to see that Black women will get recognition, because to see that they too can do these things. And I think which has been a huge part of what I try and do through my work. If I can do that through this award as well, all to the good. Yeah.
What a story. I'm so glad. That's really wonderful. And for those who may not know what CBE stands for, can you tell us?
It's Commander of the British Empire. It's a bit of an archaic name, but it's one of the string of honors. So they have MBE, and then the next one up is OBE, and then the next one up is CBE, which tends to be for regional/global impact. And then the next one up is to be a dame. So yeah, it's a very
fabulous.
beautiful.
And in fact, it ties into the next question from Chike. Yeah. When you get nominated for a dame, will you wear kente?
Do people get nominated for a dame?
He didn't say if. He said when. So you're going to get it. Now, when you get it, are you going to wear kente?
I honestly don't think I'm going to get it. To be honest, I really don't. Because
of little
I'm not being modest.
Let me claim it.
If I get it, I will. If I get it. No, I mean, if I got it, I don't say no, because I think my mother would kill me. But also, you know, it's to me, what happens is we have this conversation. When people know you have it, they ask you why. And then it brings up the subject of the work you're doing, and it brings up opportunities to bring that work to the attention of other people, to bring on other sponsors, to bring on other participants, and to make this a bigger issue. So for me, it's a conversation piece, it's an opener, it's a door opener, but it's all about the work. And if this, whatever it is that I get recognized for, gives me a chance to do more, that's what
All
it's
right.
there for. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. So let's pretend you have won it. Will
Yeah.
you wear the kente? The question that poor Chike wants to know is whether or not you wear kente. Can you at least give him some?
Okay. Yes, of course. I walk in to pick it up from the palace.
All right, all
Yes.
right.
I went there in
Sorry
my
for
skirt, my stole, and I went. I wish I had a picture to show you. I can't remember where I put them. But anyway, yeah. I collected it in Kente. Please, I went to get it as recognition for Africa. I went as a Ghana woman. Totally. Absolutely.
right. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
And we will
And you see the
just
flag
get
behind me.
Patty.
You see the flag?
Yes, I do. That was the first thing I saw. I said to
Yes.
myself, hey, Miss Ghana, she's got her flag
Yes.
right there.
I have one by my
it.
front door. As soon as you walk through into my house, you see the first thing you see is the flag. And this is in the living room. There's another one. There's one in my desk where I work.
All right. All right. So
Yes,
there's another question here. How do you maintain the discipline to write every day?
Okay, that question assumes I write every day.
Yeah.
I would. Oh man, I'm the biggest procrastinator on God's green earth. I will find everything and anything to do. I've tried to sort of segregate my week so I have a few days where I focus on work, on writing. And even then, I'll do the laundry. I'll do this. I'll see this. I'll see that. And then when I finally sit down, I can't get up because I get lost in what I'm doing. So for me, the main thing is just get your butt down. Once you sat down, it's okay. But it's getting to that space. But to be honest, I'm busy. So somebody asked me once, do you write when you're inspired? I'm like, no, however I can. Because it comes when you start typing. It's not going to come as you, okay, sometimes on the walk, you'll get a snatch of dialogue in your head and I get back and I quickly come and put it down. But yeah, it is a discipline. It is a discipline. And when I haven't written for a few days, I can feel it because I'm struggling with my words a little bit more. So it's good to do something every day.
You are so right. Many beginning writers think you have to sit down and be hit with this inspiration. But as you said, all you have to do is start writing and somehow, eventually, something will start jamming.
It will come.
So
it will come.
Remy wants to do this. They're not letting go of these awards. So which would you rather have? A CBE or a round? A round as in rounds of Evaristo's actions. So would you rather have a CBE or a round?
Yeah.
Delectable.
I think,
round.
yeah, round. I think the CBE, because for me, it's about more than me. It's about legacy. And when I think of the reasons for which I was given it, I think it's more about legacy. It's more about the future. It's more about the young people. We all want to be recognized for our creativity and our creative work. But to be honest, I'm under no illusions. And this is what Dorothy Crimson said some time back, and I agree with her. When you write commercial books, we're not sitting around waiting for awards. My reward comes when I hear people saying, I loved your book, I read your book, it really made me feel like this. So I'm not waiting for the Bookers and I'm not waiting for any of the literary prizes. I respect them very much, but they don't usually look at the kind of books that, the commercial books that I write. So it's fine. So yeah, I would stick with what I feel has a bigger, wider implication for my continent and the next generation. So yeah.
Oh, that's really wonderful. So Maza Mengisti, I'm so happy to see you. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. But Maza has a very important question. Can you share your skincare routine with us, please? You just are glowing. Look at those cheeks. Look at that forehead.
I hate to disappoint you. I am the most, I don't even know how to put it. My daughter just knows every cosmetic and every cream and everything going on. I use one soap, I use wash, and I use one cream for my entire body. That is it. I don't do anything special. Nothing at all. Nothing. Sorry. I wish I could big up some cream or some whatever. It's not. It's just some face wash that I use every single day. It's the same thing. And that's it. That's it.
Okay.
But thank you.
Well,
thank you so much.
Our Buka Maza still has our Buka Maza. I need to say it again so everybody hears it. Our Buka Maza has a very important question. Would you prefer a round bed or a square bed? Or perhaps a triangle?
Buka Maza.
Bed.
I think, I've never seen a round bed. I'd like one. All the beds I've ever slept in are square. I want a round one. I didn't know they made them. Bring it on. Round one, anytime, every time.
I have one. I'll send you a picture of my bed.
Send me a picture of your bed. I must see this. Oh, wow.
Right. So,
yes, definitely round.
The next award you win, you're going to get a round bed. It's so versatile because you don't have to be at the head of the bed. You can just be having your rounds in whatever degree you want.
That is amazing. I've never seen one. Please send me the picture. Bisi, I need to see this. I need to see it for myself. Yes. Yes.
I will. So let
I'm learning.
Sure.
You see now? Bisi, show her the round bed. Zakiswa says, show me.
So here's a question. Where do you get your earrings from? Are those for you or for me? Let me see your earrings. Oh my God, they're gorgeous. So where do you get them from?
Ghana. Ghana. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I love my pieces, my beads and beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And I love earrings too. And I've been fortunate. All the earrings that I get, my best, come from Kenya, courtesy of a living DW, our own Gerthy medal. So
I'll send my address. Please send me some.
So listen. I have to ask you this because you have a new book out that I'm sure many people haven't heard about. It's called Sweet Mercy. But before Sweet Mercy, Sweet Mercy honestly sounds like some Catholic person at a church, some virgin. I hope that's not the case. Can you tell us a little bit about Sweet Mercy?
Sweet Mercy. Okay, so my new book, Imperfect Arrangements, which hopefully we'll talk about in a minute. But what I wanted to do.
That too. Honestly, I was reading about it and I was saying, oh my God, I have to read it. But tell us just a little bit about Sweet Mercy. I hope
So Mercy is a character that is mentioned in Imperfect Arrangements. And there's just literally one line about her. But I was so intrigued by her story because of that one line. I was just thinking, what was it? So again, I just wrote Mercy's story as a stand. It's a short novella. It's about 100 pages, just under. And the best thing is it's free. So on my website, you can download it free. All you have to do is
tell everybody
say you want to join my Readers Club. It's free.
Oh, wonderful. Well, actually, Sukiswa was asking this.
It's free. Go pick it up. It's free. Mercy's story is...
Sukiswa says, it's the Sweet Mercy, a virgin who finds the on a round bed.
Sweet Mercy is about a woman who has forgotten who she is. She's gotten lost in her marriage and being a mother. And then something happens and she suddenly realizes she's forgotten who she is. And she is the wife of a very powerful, and the man starts to behave in a way which is not good. And Mercy is forced to grow up, to understand who she is, find who she is. And, you know, and that's what my book's always about. It's about growth. It's about women and growth. So, yeah, as I said, have a read. It's you don't lose anything. It's free. You just have to be ready to stay in touch with me thereafter. But otherwise, you know, it's there. But
right.
yeah,
but tell us
it
about
was a baby from this one. Yeah.
Please tell us about Imperfect Arrangements. Aisha has been raving about it.
Oh, I love Aisha. Aisha actually was one of the people to read it first, and I'm so glad she gave me the confidence to go ahead. Imperfect Arrangements is based on the premise that relationships are not perfect, and the ideal of marriage is supposed to be that marriage is the bedrock of a perfect society. So what happens when marriage is not perfect? And the story centers around three women, three best friends. It's entirely set in Ghana. Should I read you the blurb? It's probably the quickest way to give you an overview.
Why not? Please do.
Okay. So there are two sides to every story. In the sun-soaked capital of Ghana, three best friends struggle with the arrangements that define their relationships. Ambitious Teresa has gambled everything to move with her husband Tyler from London to cosmopolitan Accra. But when shocking developments threaten their plans, they also expose the hidden cracks in her fairy tale marriage. Feisty Maku is desperate for professional recognition and her dream wedding. But how long can she wait for her laid-back partner Norte to stop dreaming up pointless projects and stand up to his family? Church-going Lila married Kwesi in haste. But while she battles her attraction to the mysterious Reuben, her husband has bitten off more than he can chew with his latest mistress. Facing lies, betrayal, and shattered illusions, each couple must confront the truth of who they have become and the arrangements they have enabled. Against the backdrop of a shifting culture, each woman must decide what and who she is willing to sacrifice for the perfect marriage.
All right. Well, that sounds like it's really very interesting. I hope you can get that to Ghana soon, and we can get to read all these books. And I'm going to ask you a question, please. Just because I don't have my eye on the time, I switched everything off. So can you tell me what time it is? We want to just make sure.
We have 6 minutes before 2 o'clock. So we have 6
minutes before. Okay, good. So remind me in about 2 minutes. This is really supposed to be my job. And I should have turned my clock has suddenly died on me, and I have no idea why. And the phone is otherwise occupied, and I turned off the TV. So I can't help.
No, I will. But you know, this is a book that came out only in March, just before lockdown. And what I particularly wanted to do with this book was also to show the men's perspective. So the book is structured over 1 year, and it's told from the perspective of the three women, the best friends, but there's also interspersed chapters from their partners, the guys. So I wanted to explore this thing, you know, as women we're always asking, you know, what was he thinking? Why did he do that? I don't get it. And I just wanted to find out why they do what they do. So it's not meant to demonize guys. It's meant to give us a three-dimensional look at what drives people, right? And just understand them.
Well, this has been wonderful. I'm sure everybody's going to go out and look for your books, Sweet Mercy, Imperfect Arrangement, From Pasta to Pig Foot, and I Want to Work in Africa, and I don't even know. Just go to her website and you'll find everything that you need. She's got all these books available, and get the free one to read.
Get the free one.
Thank you so much for having us and for being with us. Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure.
Right now so I can save our wonderful conversation and people can get to watch you. So thank you so much. It's
my pleasure. Lovely to see you. All the best. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.